Thank you, everybody here today, September the 18th, 2025, to our inactive active cemetery meeting committee. We're just running a little bit late this morning, maybe a little technical difficulty. And so just welcome everybody. And just to let everybody know, whoever's online and here, that this meeting will be live streamed and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page using the following link. And that would be www.youtube.com/at town of Plympton-Wyoming/streams. I'd just like to say too, as we open up, happy birthday, Albert.
Thank you very much.
Great to know a young fella like you are attending these meetings, and welcome Lisa, our new secretary, Lisa Smekens. Welcome. You're probably on one of the best committees here in town, so we'll see when this meeting's over. Anyways, item number 2 on the agenda today. If anybody has a pecuniary interest, you can declare it now or at any time throughout the meeting. Item number 3 on the agenda today, delegations. We don't have any. Item number 4, adoption of the committee meeting minutes. We have the minutes of the Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee, July 10th, 2025. So you have them in front of you there. Just take a look over them. A few seconds and we'll see if there's any changes, any corrections, anything you didn't say.
I think it.
Pardon me, Lisa?
I didn't print them off in their packages.
Anything in there that needs correcting or said that hasn't been printed in here?
No, I didn't.
Okay, hearing none then, that was moved by Hank Wilshut, Albert, seconded by Albert. That the minutes of Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee meeting minutes be received and approved for adoption. Once again, that was Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery minutes of July the 10th. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Okay. Item number 5, is there any business arising from the previous minutes? Anything on there that you want to talk about? No business from the previous minute? Okay, hearing none, moved by Albert, seconded by Hank. That the report by Lisa Smekens, Executive Assistant Deputy Clerk, dated September the 8th, 2025, regarding the 2026 Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery. Oop, that's not the right one. That's the calendar.
There is no motion for this arising.
Okay. All right, just moving on. Item number 7, 7.1. Where are we? Yeah, this is the calendar. Actually, this is the way I think I'm supposed to do it. Moved by Albert, second by Hank. The report by Lisa Smekens, Executive Assistant Deputy Clerk, dated September the 8th, 2025, regarding the 2026 Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery calendar be received. That the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee approve the 2026 meeting dates. And the approved meeting dates be forwarded on to the town clerk for inclusion in the 2026 council and committee calendar. So we'll take a look over that. John?
I just want to confirm that they start at 9 a.m. Do they?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe we could have a wake-up call.
It wouldn't hurt.
And just for the committee's information, you'll take a look that there is nothing in November and December. Next year is election year, and the new committees, the existing council will be dissolved, and these committees will be dissolved, and the new ones picked. So there's no meetings in November or December. maybe in January, if committees are all approved and, okay, so. That's why you see nothing there. So any other changes there, or this probably follows this year's anyways, doesn't it, pretty
Yeah,
well,
it follows
Lisa?
Same as this year, where it's the second Thursday of the month at 9 AM. And we do not have meetings in February, June, August, or November or December, as you've mentioned. And then the Inactive Cemetery Tour is the last Thursday of May. And the Decoration Day at Wyoming Public Cemetery will be the second Sunday of June.
We got that, John, Decoration Day. John's gonna be our master of ceremonies. Okay, other than that, any other comments or everybody okay with that? Yep, tried to follow the same pattern. Okay. All in favor of that calendar to be forwarded? Thank you. Carried. Okay, 7.2 on the list there, that was moved by Albert, seconded by Hank. That's a report by Lisa Smeekins, Executive Assistant Deputy Clerk, dated September the 8th, 2025, regarding the Wyoming Public Cemetery 2026 price list be received. The committee endorses the increase of 6% to the 2025 fees, and the staff be directed to include the proposed prices on the 2026 comprehensive fees bylaw for council's consideration. Yeah, you can just open that up and take a look. Now, this is something that Lisa would not have been involved in this conversation, I don't believe, were you?
Back in 2024, there was a review of what other local municipalities, cemeteries are charging. At that time, we found that, Wyoming is charging below the average for cemeteries in Plympton County. So normally we've done a cost of living increase each year, but when that report was done in 2024, it was suggested that we do a higher increase, such as 6% each year, just to try and come closer to par with the rest of the fees. Rates are.
Any questions from the committee? Okay, so Lisa, just to confirm, so what we're recommending here is that each year we increase 6%, not just.
So we are just recommending for this year alone.
Oh, okay.
So I got the number of 6% based on that report that was taken in 2014, and then last year we did an increase of 6% as well. So that's where the 6% suggestion came from. There's also another chart included where it's only 3%, which is the cost of living increase, which is what historically we have done. So my suggestion would be that we do the 6%, just since we are below the county average. But I did provide the numbers for 3% as well, if you wanted to take a look.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that. So we got a 3% or a 6%. But the study showed, if I'm hearing correctly, that 6% would be the proper number.
Yeah, we would still be below the county average, for everything except for the Columberry. That would be the only thing that's not below the county average.
John?
Question there. I'm sure if we run into the circumstance periodically where someone very legitimately unable either to pay full price or any price, do we have ever accommodated folks like that or helped out or?
Well, but that's a good question, and I do believe the answer is if you are unable to pay, I believe we bore the costs. We had that happen once last year, remember? No, it didn't happen. There was somebody outside the community that come here and wanted to be buried, and we were gonna have to incur the cost because there was no monies. Now, that's all recommended up. Correct me if I'm wrong, through the funeral homes. They, certain laws around that.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna get buried, whether somebody's gonna pay for it regardless. So,
Right.
I don't know if we have that written in our policies anywhere.
I'm not sure. I can review the bylaws and then I can give you an answer at our next meeting.
That would be great.
Yeah,
That'd
can
be
we
great.
get that like written up properly so we
Mhm.
kind of can answer this
Yeah.
real quick? Because that's a very good question.
And it would never be, I mean, it would have to be confirmed, like it would have to be documented.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can't afford it because, and here's my proof,
Yeah.
or mhm.
Well, like I say, I believe last year we were dealing with one issue, but it got canceled. For some reason, it got canceled, so we didn't.
Okay,
But I believe we have to bore the costs.
okay.
They decide they're coming here into our cemetery, so. Anyways, Lisa, if you can, that's a really good thing to have a
Mhm.
proper policy.
Mhm.
I agree with John. Yeah. Next committee knows what's going on. Okay, now as far as the 3%, Lisa supplied us with both 3 or 6%. Where do you see that? In the minutes there.
And then there's
Yeah.
the ones off.
Oh, 3% on I see, yeah.
Yeah, 1-3-1-6, so.
Sorry.
So, which, we can decide here today which one we want to move forward to
Sorry.
council. But, you know, it's up to the committee, but my recommendation is even at 6%, we're still below the county average. Which, you know, doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, we're not competing here with other areas, but on the other hand, need to keep our costs down too. Yes, Hank?
I think part of what drove this last year too was we were quite a bit under what the county average was. So if correct, you mentioned last year we increased 6%.
So we did.
So that means this year, if we agree to another 6% increase, how close would that get us back at the average?
Great question. Because, yeah, we're not looking at, you know, no, being higher,
Yeah,
for sure. It's not a money-making business.
That's what I was just saying, you're not gonna say it too.
Yeah.
Do we need more to make as much money as others? You know, are we okay with what we got?
So
In competition, I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
in 2024, it looks like for an adult grave, we were about $500 less than the county average. Raising it by 6% is an increase of $41. So we still would be significantly
Way down.
okay, average.
So,
I don't think it needs to be a competition, it just, how can we manage with what we got, or do we need more?
So,
We flocking here. Well,
any
it's cheap.
shortfalls in the cemetery budget, we get a grant from the town, so then it's taxpayer dollars that pay for any shortfalls that the cemetery isn't able to pay for from the collection of internment fees and plot sales and such. So I believe last year, the amount that we got from the town was over 10,000 for the active cemetery.
for the active cemetery was 10,000?
That was, yeah, that the grant from the town to cover our like shortfalls. Okay, for maintenance and grass cutting and.
And the inactive was, yeah.
Yeah, the inactive isn't, the fees don't go towards the inactive cemetery. The fees for plot sales and internment, that all goes towards maintenance of the active cemetery, since it's buying plots and scheduling burials and such in the active cemetery. So that's where that money is directed towards.
So I'm hearing you correctly, we really have a shortfall, $10,000 a year. But the taxpayers are picking up that 10,000.
Okay.
So even at 6%, not a mathematician, gotta make up the $500 shortfall. We're gonna be a few years even catching up, even if we went 6% every year.
Yeah, the suggestion in the 2024 staff report was that we do increases higher than cost of living for 5 years and then reassess at that time.
Pardon me, make it the cost of living?
So, prior to the staff report that Ella did last July, we went up by a cost of living, which this year would be about 3%. In that staff report, the recommendation was that we, for over the next 5 years, increase beyond cost of living. So that's where we came up with the 6% number, just to try and reduce the burden on the tax base, and try and not have that town grant continue to get higher and higher.
Okay, well,
Here's another angle.
yes.
Like, why are we increasing it increments? Why don't we just bump it up to where it needs to be, maybe?
Well, I mean, that's another option.
I think the reason for doing it in increments is just so that it's not like a sudden shock for people purchasing plots and stuff. If they were looking into a plot this year, but then end up getting it next year and there's suddenly like a huge price difference, to try and still stay affordable for the people who utilize the cemetery.
Sure. Yeah.
We don't wanna suddenly be too high priced for them. So we wanna kind of try and maintain affordability, but slowly increase it just so that it's not a shock for.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you've heard the comments. I guess two choices were being offered here today. Is 3% or 6%, or there's John's not really recommendation, is it?
It's just a thought,
Just a thought.
another viewpoint that do we need to be prudent, like, and recoup costs, you know? But no, I could certainly live with the 6%, that's for sure.
6%.
Hank, what are you thinking?
I say go with the 6%.
Al, what are you thinking? I know you're not supposed to think here, but you're.
We have room for our operators that are acting inside the cemetery as well for the openings and the closings and stuff like that. So are we recouping their costs? Their costs increase with the contracts, the equipment costs, operating costs that increase. So if you're asking, I'm thinking the 6% is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, agree.
All right, now let's move forward then. Moved by Albert, second by Hank, that the report by Lisa Smeekins, Executive Assistant Deputy Clerk, dated September the 8th, 2025, regarding the Wyoming Public Cemetery 2026 price list be received. The committee endorses the increase of 6% to the 2025 fees, and the staff be directed to include the proposed prices on the 2026 comprehensive fees bylaw for council's consideration. All in favor? Gary, thank you. Okay. Number 8 on the agenda today, bylaws. We have no items at this time. Correspondence. You can see that in front of you there. The BAO notice guideline to cemeteries. You can read that on your own time. And the care and maintenance fund. Quite interesting stuff. And the BAA. No thefts of bronze metals and damage to columbariums, Norfolk counties. You know, people stealing the bronze and everything else. Terrible, disgusting, but that's recommended reading. Okay. Number 10,
A motion.
so there is a motion to there. These are recommends the 2020s. You said there's a motion for.
Yeah, there should be, it should say section 9.1 on the bottom of.
I don't. I missed it. No,
Here's
oh.
There's a couple here that weren't signed.
Oh, come on here, you fellas at 9 in the morning.
Right
Not
here.
very-
9.1 and 10.1 need signed.
See what you've done with this, John?
Stir it up, I love it.
numbers. Thank you, sir. You. And moved by Albert, seconded by John, the correspondence received by the Wyoming Public Cemetery Committee and filed accordingly. That's on the recommended reading. Correspondence be received. Oh, yeah, okay. This will be the next. Okay, item number 10, new business. Let's ask everybody who's got new business. Hank, do you have any new business for today? Al, any new business for today?
Yeah, I'll just give you an update on our benches. We did receive the benches there a week or so ago. I contacted for our slabs. I think they forgot to make them for us. Supposed to pick them up this week, slabs, so we probably should see them in within the next week or so.
I'm just over there this morning and so I asked Lisa that question, so. Okay, that's fair.
What about the mats? Backhoe matting we talked about last time, is there?
I don't feel that that's gonna happen. Again, that's gonna be, becomes a multi, operational thing, guys.
Yeah.
So the increased costs of, guys coming in, the guy operating the backhoe is not gonna lay him out and keep moving them. Oh,
Okay,
we'll have to just keep addressing the damages when they do happen.
yeah, new business?
New bit, none for me, thank you.
Okay, and
Chair.
I don't have any for today yet. Okay, then moving on to 10.1 under new business. And where are we here? Okay, 10.1, that was moved by Albert, seconded by John, that 2025 second quarter financial updates be received by the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee. See that in front of you there?
So on the proposed budget, that is the 2025 actual column, and that shows what has gone through the accounts as of June 30th, 2025.
So we'll go to the Wyoming Public Cemetery first, I guess. Have a look at that now. 25, and then there's your you look at that on the right, there's your 2026 draft budget right down the right column.
Yeah, and so then the column adjacent to that, to the left is where the second quarter financial updates can
The
be.
June 30th second quarter, so. So we're actually missing 2 quarters there for you to compare. But that's just till June 30th, so. So looking at the 2025 budget, down that column out $56,100, so this 2026. $62,795. So you can see an increase there,
Yes, that increase is approximately 3%.
3%.
The total budget is increasing approximately 3%.
So what I'd like you to do is zero in on some specifics like maintenance, grass cutting, stone restoration. Now I see we do have 10,000 in there for stone restoration. Now, from what I've seen and what we've talked about here in the last few months, that we're in pretty good shape on them stones. In the active cemetery.
Right.
The inactive cemetery, we're not in such good shape. And that is that's quite a problem because there is no money. There's no perpetual care money. There is nobody available to repair the stones. It's who's supposed to repair them, the people that don't. Right? So my recommendation is that that's for the active cemetery and the 10,000. Well, my recommendation is we leave it in there. If it's not used, it'll move over to reserves. Because I'll tell you why I'm saying that. I always like to let you know why I'm thinking that way. We were told by the fellow that does our stones that even in the new part of the subdivision, a lot of them stones are also gonna need repairing. The tops are glued on. He said they're already failing.
Mm.
So there's gonna be work to do there in the future. So if we cut back on that restoration money, it don't take long to spend $10,000 when you bring them in. So I would recommend we leave it in there, but that'll be up to the committee. You can do what you want with it. But you know, it's kind of here where we got to decide, are we going to bring this guy in next year and do anything or not? Because this is where you got a budget for it. And I think he also told us they were in pretty good shape. So,
Then we're okay for another year.
yeah. What else have we got in there now? Now, Decoration Day expenses, did that work out this year, the $500? I mean, was that, they all wanted a little more money?
This year it looks like they were still below, they still kept, only used $400. So I think it likely when Decoration Day happened, it just forgot that it got increased in the budget. So I think $500 would still suffice.
Now, the big one here obviously is the groundskeeper contract, but you just told us, Lisa, that we're good for 26, the contract?
Yes, the contract that we had in place was for 2024, 2025, and 2026. So this is the last year on the contract. But we do have, I believe it's called Southern Comfort, contracted for 1 more year.
Okay, now, anybody else got questions? I know I'm asking them all here. Just speak up if you do. I just, as I'm going through here, notice 2024 was 16,530. 2025 was, well, that's only till June the 30th, 17,2. So we might be pretty close. Now, Al, you said that they can ask for an adjustment during the year?
Well, they have, these guys not particularly, but our past contractors had asked for an adjustment based on the increased fuel costs.
Yeah.
Whether it's up to us, whether we want to award it or not, but that's.
As such, the number I included is 3% higher than what the contract actually states. Just in case a cost of living increase is requested, that way it can be accommodated in the budget.
That's what I was getting at. That's good. Okay. Okay, now that they know, I think they know that they're not supposed to exceed contract price, right? That's what, yeah, okay. That's good, Lisa, 3%. That kind of covers us, okay. Tree and shrub removal, trimming. Looking at the active cemetery this morning, that's one thing I zeroed in on is trees. I don't see anything in there that needs to come down. Things look pretty
Nothing of
good.
any size.
Yeah,
There is,
nothing of any-
along the main road, there is,
Yeah.
1 or 2 there that's bad shape.
Okay,
Particularly, near the back section of the new area.
okay.
There's a tree there that's decayed pretty bad, and it's gonna need to come out.
Do our guys take that out or?
That one, there's one that I could take out. I'll have to get somebody to grind the stump after, and, probably that'd be a proper spot to put another tree. Instead, replace.
So 3,000 looks too bad.
Generally, depends on what kind of storm we get, right? That's kind of where we went with that dollar figure
Yeah,
was, and left there because if we do, get a storm through the fall that, may cause some damage to the trees or even, you know, an early, or a late winter storm that always causes havoc on the branches. That's where we'll need that money.
because what I'm seeing here is that we haven't used any money in 2025 yet.
No, and that, again, that's, I kind of look at that as an emergency fund in
Yep.
case we have to call in, say, Wyoming tree to cut up a tree that come over in a storm.
So that's good. extra 3,000 will just go into reserves anyway. Okay, anybody else see anything going down the list there? Speak up. Yeah, I think we're not too bad a shape there. There's a works department so far, you're only used 1349 out of 10,000, so that's good, and it's not so good when council sees this is where they'll pick it apart.
Yeah. Oh.
We look at some of that too, is like I can bring in some more stone dust. The roads are starting to need topped up a little bit. We have been adding some just into the sinkholes, but it's not staying. There's must be an old tree base or something there. It just keeps, there's a couple spots, it just keeps dropping. One of our old committee members there used to complain about it, Mr. Ma.
Yeah,
And on that back road, how it just kept sinking, and we'd fill it in and it'd sink again, so. So some more materials needed on a few of those roads.
And their opening and closings, 3,400, we budget for 12,000. So I'm just thinking ahead to the council, if they go through this line by line like we're doing, we may have some questions, but I'll have the answers. We have to budget this way because you just don't know.
It's unforeseen.
Right. And this is pretty low budget anyways. And we're trying to catch up with the 6% on that type of stuff, so. Going down to the capital, what does expansion reserve mean, Lisa? What's that mean? Expansion reserve, that down,
So that is for a future expansion of the cemetery. Yeah, so it's to start saving for when we do want to
okay,
make the cemetery larger.
put 3,250 in this year by the looks of it. Okay. That's a good question too. Al, back where you got the wood chips and all that. Is that all approved cemetery back there, that whole section?
Well, it's never been surveyed, but it is designated as cemetery lands.
It is, okay, so if we had to expand back there, we don't gotta go through years of,
No, you just you'll have to go through and get everything all surveyed and
Yeah.
stuff and registered for the plots.
because I think that's something that we really need to think about for the future, that section back there, we slowly get that all ready to go. We need to expand, and at least it's a done deal. Now, the studies that we did, Lisa, I know you weren't here at the time. Ella, we didn't need to do any expansion for quite a few years. But getting that section ready, getting it all approved like we have to, surveyed and all that. I think it's something that the next next committee is gonna have to think about. Get that ready to go. I'm surprised how quick that new section is filling up.
It does. It does.
You don't know what's really going on. A lot of them been pre-sold and
Yeah.
no markers yet, so.
Yeah.
But
Well, we keep track of the pre-sold ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a pretty good list of them, of the ownerships and stuff in there, so. And that's where Ella built her, part of her report on.
Okay, yep.
What was left, so.
Well, at least we're budgeting for expansion, okay. Okay, operating revenue, moving down the list there, you can see the town grant, what it is there, 14,000. This is for 2026, $14,195. Yeah, and we had budgeted only 10,000 last time.
So the reason that increase is needed is you'll notice that the line for reserve and reserve and investment law interest, that one is much lower. It was 13,000 last year, but it's only supposed to be 6,500 this year. That is due to the fact that drain debentures are often done through the cemetery's money that's sitting in the bank account. So when drain debentures happen, the extra interest that people pay due to the debenture actually goes to the cemetery. And there are no drain debentures scheduled for 2026 that are utilizing the cemetery funds. So there is no income from that for 2026.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah, it is. 'Cause I think we probably got a fair number of dollars in the reserves in the cemetery. I talked to Norma about that one. Well, people may just not be applying for debentures, I don't know.
Mhm,
But it's something that, like, look at the interest that we got the last time, over $13,000.
mhm.
Okay. So now I see why that increased, yeah. Okay. Okay, anything else on that list that anybody wants to talk about? Hank?
So underneath the lot and niche sales. Is that normal? Like, it only shows 2,900 income up to June the 30th. When we were budgeting for 18 grand for the year. That relative to other years showing up like that, because other years our sales are a lot higher.
Yeah,
I'm pretty new to this role, so I'm not sure when the majority of sales happen. I do think that late fall and early winter tend to be a higher sales time for cemetery plots. And it could just be that this year is a little bit slower than normal. I didn't do budget for much of it, or for any increase over this year, because just with the amount that was budgeted 2 years ago, I went off of the actuals from 2 years ago, and I assumed a 6% increase for both this year and next year would be what the actuals would be, and then I based the 18,000 off of that, because our rates have gone up by that 6%, so that's where I got the 18,000 from. So I'm not sure if this year we will end up selling less, or if there will be more that get sold in the fall.
I guess don't know how many people are passing, so
Mhm,
that can make a big difference.
mhm.
Matter of fact, Ella had give us a chart that actually showed how many were sold. I don't know where it is, but I'd have to go back to my past minutes, but it kind of told you how many they had sold that each plot and in the columbarium. But depending on how many people are passing, it's a big deal on that particular number. Now, mind you, this is only till June the 30th. We're into September here, so. Anyway, once again, it's the unknown.
Mhm,
And you know what? We don't sell any, that's a good thing.
mhm,
Cause I may not have to use one.
mhm.
Okay, now the next line down, opening, closing, I mean, that's reflective also on how many are sold, right?
Mhm.
So opening and closings is a direct relation to how many burials have been done a year.
Okay, so I guess when we're looking down the bottom line, I mean, you can obviously see the numbers there. 2025 was 64, 100, the 2026 is gonna be 66, 45. So I think personally, I think it's a good budget. I think we may get some questions from council on some of those figures that I mentioned. A lot higher than what 2025 has been, but I think Lisa's explained it very well based on some of the interest and stuff that we're getting, why some of those increases are there. So hopefully, I'll have Lisa at that council meeting, we'll be able to, she can explain that, or I can. Yes, El.
I just have one question because I'm not clear on it myself. Does that opening and closing refer to the Mount Calvary one as well? Because we do open and close for them.
I believe so, because we build them out and then they pay us back for it, so I think it's all opening and closings that are
Okay.
that our public works department handles.
Right.
So you sparked a question there, but if in fact that includes the opening and closings, somehow we should be getting credit back on our budget. Say they had 10 open and closing, what do you charge for?
There is I don't know what the
Yeah.
exact fee is now, but yeah.
But if
It's should have been in our fee structure, right?
yeah, if it's included in these numbers, then we kind of put our numbers off because they'd be paying for it.
Yeah, so then it would kind of be, it would level out, because we would pay our public works department for doing the opening and closing, and then we would bill that amount to Calvary. So it would go into that account that public works was in the cemetery doing work, and then the money we receive from Mount Calvary would then again go into it and balance it out. You do bill them for that work that's done.
Yeah, I think there's been some trade-offs in the past for trimming trees and stuff like that with Mount Calvary, so,
Yeah, they
yeah.
shared costs and stuff.
Okay. Okay, then let's move down to everybody okay with that now? Any more comments on that? Okay, let's move down to the inactive cemetery budget. You know, let's go through this, grass cutting. $10,275, looks like we're pretty well right on budget there, because June 30th, we spent 47.49. I think we're getting a pretty good deal there still. Well, not a pretty good deal, but it did go up from what others were charging, but so did the cost of living, so. Okay, moving down into the main part of the budget, miscellaneous. No.
Inactive, which let's see here. We had two sheets.
Oh,
One at the very top here.
okay. You know, you can see
Wyoming.
There it is.
each inactive cemetery is listed there.
No, you don't.
One,
Don't have it.
11 of them.
You don't have it. Have a look at her then.
You know, we got for 2026, we got $500 besides several of them.
So that $500, we are right now, I'm in contact with Sign Ontario to get new wayfinding signs for all the cemeteries. So in 2025, we had budgeted for 6 of the 11 inactive cemeteries to get a new sign so that they'll all match and be easy to read and such. There'll be double-sided signs that will hang on many of the cemeteries have existing posts. So if they have a post already, it'll hang on the existing post. Otherwise, we'll put a new post in. So we budgeted for 6 of them to be done in 2025. That's currently in the works as we speak. And then we will budget for the remaining 5 in 2026, that all 11 cemeteries have matching signs to make it clear what cemetery is which.
Sounds good. Anybody got any questions on that? No? Okay. Drain maintenance, $25. What's that all about?
There are 3 inactive cemeteries that have been assessed on a drain that is having works done on Douglas Line. But their amounts that they've been assessed are very low, so the 3 of them together is actually even less than the $25. I just budgeted a little bit extra in case they appear on another drain as well. But the actual assessments ranged from like $2 to $11 per cemetery, so.
Well, that's, yeah, okay.
You thought it was one guy in a shovel for another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just moving on down. Once again, if anybody has any questions, just butt in. Lunch, is that enough? How many of us usually go to lunch? I see it has covered it so far.
Yeah, so I just increased it again by about 3%, just assuming that prices go up a little bit.
Fair enough.
There is a new line on this budget that hasn't been on previously. I've added a tree planting line.
Yes.
When we were on the cemetery tour in May, it was mentioned at 2 of the cemeteries that it might be nice to have a row of, I believe, cedars added along the one property line. And one cemetery, it was suggested that 3 red maples get added. So that money was put there based on those suggestions that were at the cemetery tour.
Okay, I brought this particular item up at a council meeting about the amount of money sitting in the parks tree budget. I said, like, it'd be nice if you plant some in our cemeteries, and Nettie looked at me and I said, please. She said, well, maybe we could work something out. I think maybe this is the better way to do it. Let's do our own, we'll do our own thing.
Mhm.
And if it gets questioned in council when this gets presented, somebody wants to speak up and say, we already have a tree thing, okay, well, that's fine. If you're gonna officially give us the 3,000, that's fine, right? So they're doing their own thing here. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, that's good.
They want to chip in and take it, give us the money, that's fine. That's a good move. Al, you don't normally plant too many trees in the fall, do you? We do plant them in the spring.
Fall's a good time of year to do it. We've got a few that we've already planted this year, a couple more to go ahead. I got a memorial tree to plant out at Lamb Recton, so
Okay.
it's just, I have to make sure I, dedicate the time with the guys.
But this is for next
Yeah.
year, so we didn't have any money for this year, so.
We do still for this year have some money remaining in general maintenance, which is noted as trees and road department. So I believe Al was hoping for some guidance at this meeting of what things would take priority, so that if there is time for the public works guys in the fall, that they could start working away at some of those things, because we do still have money left in 2025 in that general line.
Well, I personally, you don't get the trees in the ground, they're not gonna grow. Right, that's what I keep telling council, that 30,000 or whatever the figure is, get the trees planted, they're not growing sitting in a bank account, so.
Mhm.
So we'll instruct Al, if he's got time this fall and he's talking about these cedars, let's go ahead and spend some of that extra money.
Yeah, in which case then the 3,000 that I put in the tree line could go instead in the general maintenance line, and anything that comes up. Again, that would be something you have to. I'll go.
So that, pardon me, so that general maintenance line. We could dedicate to road repair or whatever. Is that what you had?
Yeah, so the general maintenance line is basically to cover works that Public Works does in the inactive cemetery.
Okay.
So say the Errol Cemetery, if we wanted to do something with those lily of the valley,
Mhm.
stuff like that, that would probably fall under general maintenance. But it also does note in the title of it, general maintenance / trees and roads department. So if you did want the trees to go in still this fall, if Al thinks that Public Works is able to accommodate that, that would probably be the best place of the budget to
Okay,
put them.
gotcha. So for 2026, however, now trees have their own line and keep that
Yeah, I just added that line just to make it clear that that's
like that actually.
that
Mhm.
that money was gonna be dedicated for.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're saying here, Al, is like, there is money in this year's budget you could plant some of them trees in the inactive, it's cedars if you have the time. If you have the time, you got quite a bit left.
The nice thing about a cedar is that they don't take a lot of maintenance, so.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
So if you get the time, then it'd probably be good to use up a little of that money planting them cedars or whatever, if, up to you, up to you. So we'll leave that 3,000 in for the trees for 2026, that's always a good thing, and there's always, I mean, and if we cut down a tree, we got the policy to plant a tree. Okay, operating revenue down at the bottom there. You can see, now here's where the issue is with these inactive cemeteries, not just our inactive cemeteries, but throughout the province. This is a big deal. There's a lot of inactive cemeteries that the taxpayers are paying for, and we're putting, there's $24,195 that the taxpayers are paying to do the upkeep on these inactive cemeteries. And as we all know from the discussions we've had here, all these stones and everything are supposed to be the responsibility of the people that own them, but they ain't ground anymore.
Mhm.
So we have to do it we tried to talk to the government, the provincial government about this. We had a special meeting with them and, oh, they were gonna do this and they were gonna do that. And you know what? We never, ever heard back with them. We had teamed up with Warwick on this issue and met with the ministers in Toronto on it. And it just fizzled out. So I think it's gonna be something that has to be talked about in the future. I don't know if the province is willing or not willing to do, but they know it's an issue. Anyways, we're not gonna resolve it here, but just, it's good for you to take a look at that figure. That's, you know, that's a lot of money. And when you look at L, like out there in Errol and that, what it would cost us to go in there and clean all that up and get all them, oh, boy. You know. And you know, we had the discussion at the last cemetery meeting about these big stones that are up there and leaning. I mean, we know now from the last meeting, we can actually lay them down. Which is kind of a sad situation to have to lay them in the,
Yeah, I find that
Yes,
really
but-
strange, yeah.
but anyways, you wouldn't go far. Even with $25,000 if you had to go in there. No.
Do we, question, Mr. Chairman, do we get much correspondence or complaints from our residents about condition of the inactive cemeteries? Do you recall any?
I never received anything on the only one. I think we had a bit of issue out there at that South Plympton.
Yep, exactly, about all the junk that was piled in the corner, and I think it's still kind of,
They cleaned it up, but it's, you know, you're getting overgrown,
Sure.
brushy stuff there now.
but it's hard to tell somebody what to do with their own land, especially agriculture. It's not on our property. Other than that, I can't recall.
I know it's a touchy subject about tall monuments and they're leaning, you know, are they becoming unsafe or whatever? But just practicality, and if they were to be set on little risers off the ground, like not actually laying on the ground, but on little risers, and they'd be perfectly safe, they'd still it'd still be a respectful conditioning of them. I think it's worth probably discussing it sometime, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be an act of disrespect because somebody chose to invest in a very expensive monument 100 years ago.
You know, John, I think you're right on. Maybe sometime it'd be a good thing to talk with our stone guy. Let them have a look and say, like, here's what we're facing over the next few years. What's your recommendation, how you deal with these things?
Could you report the foundation, you know,
Yeah, it could,
and straighten it up?
yeah. Or,
Cheaper than laying it down and biting for it.
yeah, it might be, yeah.
It might be.
He's had to
I don't know.
run into that in the past, I would think.
I would have to believe so, yeah.
Yeah, but oh boy,
That'd be a good suggestion, talk to him about it.
yeah, sometime you got time and just. Now that we got the main cemetery in good shape.
Yep.
Now's the time to take a look at the worst of the worst of the inactive and say, hey. It's just like we did with the mound out there. I mean, that was an awesome way to resolve that issue.
It was, and those were very modest stones from day one.
Yep.
And spending a minimal amount of money. That fact showed less respect than spending 5,000 on trying to restore you know, an expensive monument. I don't necessarily think it has to. I don't think we have to feel disrespectful because we choose to be a little pragmatic about how to handle these stones effectively. Because there's a lot of them laying in the corner too, on heaped up in a skid,
Yeah.
you know?
Was watching a program on YouTube here a while back over inactive cemeteries throughout the province. I gotta tell you, some of them are just let grow up. Just can't even identify them as. But I know we're trying to be respectful here and keep them up to, you know, looking reasonable, so.
No, I don't have that one.
Okay, then, Moving on here, anybody got any other comments on the inactive recommend draft budget? I keep saying draft. I think it looks excellent to me, but anybody else got any? Okay, then, what about this here?
So there's two motions right now that will need to be heard. One to note that the, 2025, up until June 30th, that you accept that you saw those numbers. And then one to, recommend consideration.
Okay. Ready to go then? I'll just read off here. This was moved by Albert, second by John Van Cleveren. 2025 second quarter financial updates be received by the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery. All in favor of that one?
All right.
Thank you. And if everybody's ready to kind of complete this draft budget recommendation that was moved by Albert, seconded by Hank. The Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee receives and recommends the 2026 budgets for the Wyoming Public Cemetery and the Inactive Cemeteries in Plympton, Wyoming, be brought to council for approval. And that's the Wyoming Public Cemetery 2026 draft budget and the Inactive Cemeteries 2026 draft budget. All in favor to move that forward to council? Carrie, thank you. Great. Okay, we don't, moving on. For 11, we don't have any, closed meeting.
Can I bring one more thing up? I think?
Yes. Yes,
In the summertime, we had a young fellow that went through our fence at Brook Cemetery at the corner of Fleming Match and Churchill.
okay,
He went off the road on his way to work and went through the fence. I don't know how he did it, but the only thing he took out was the fence and our sign. He missed every monument in there, was able to drive back out of there and then get the vehicle back out on the road before the tow truck came along. They do have Van Tam fencing from Brigden coming to repair the fence at their expense.
Oh.
And I told them not to worry about the sign because we're in the process of replacing the sign anyways. So
Yep.
just wanted to bring you up to date on that. I forgot. to bring that up.
they're fixing the fence.
They're fixing the fence.
Yeah, well, that's excellent.
That's nice they own up to it, eh?
Yeah, totally. Respect that.
Yeah.
Just make note of that, so if anybody ever asks, Brook fence.
That other plot where they put a monument up for people from Hamilton, that there was no burial there in that, or they know the families in that particular spot.
Down here at the Beth.
Yeah.
We tried to take the area that we thought the church was at
Yeah, okay,
and place the monument there.
okay.
That was to our best knowledge. There was no records of anything in.
That'd be the original church.
Yeah.
The next one was across the road, down the road bit, where the house is.
I'll have to make note of that, so I know if anything comes up.
Some history on it.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's about it for today. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn the meeting? Everything looks good, okay. Moved by Albert, second by Hank, that the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee adjourns until October the 9th, 2025 at 9 a.m. or the call of the chair. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
Hate to run, guys, but I got a meeting.
Oh, another meeting.